Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the arena. It promises to be another exciting edition. It's coming to you live from our studios in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm Samson Louide, your host for the show. Now, that's the highlight of the match between Mali and Tunisia, which ended on a very, very controversial note, as the talking point had to do with the referee, Gianni Sikazwe of Zambia, who blew the final whistle twice. First in the 85th minute, which was 5 minutes, prior to regulation time, which is 90 minutes. And the second time was in the 89th minute when he seemingly adjudged he had given 4 minutes extra time. And that was to the fury of the Tunisian technical crew as well as the players who rushed at him at the end of the final whistle. That has been the talking point of the African Cup of Nations since yesterday afternoon when the match took place. And on that note, I welcome you to the show once again. Let's delve into it quickly as we can. Mali against Tunisia, it was the biggest game of yesterday's proceedings, and it ended on a very controversial note. It was a match that was a very feisty contest, it must be said. Mali had the lead in the first half, courtesy of a penalty, and it was well dispatched by Ibrahim Kone, who is the rising star when it comes to Malian football at this point in time. Dispatched it with relative ease, and the Tunisians also had their own shot from the 12 yards, but unfortunately they couldn't make it count. The Tunisians had, chances. There you can see there a chance from a free kick, which was well positioned, and the Malian goalkeeper did so well to be able to prevent that from going in. And here's the incident that led to, the penalty as well, which Mali considered, but the Tunisians couldn't capitalize from 12 yards as they were made to pay for their profligacy in front of goal. But the talking point has to do with the referee. At first, they didn't award the penalty. He blew for a free kick, but later on, the penalty was awarded, and the Malian goalkeeper stood his ground to deny the Tunisians an equalizer. And you can see the Malians there, embrace him for his heroics in the game. And for the Tunisians, it's quite understandable that they are, aggrieved by the referee's decisions in the match. That was the red card, straight red card that was awarded to the Malian player there. And there were calls for if that was even harsh in the first place because the contact was quite minimal. And it just shows you that the referee, Gianni Sikazwe, didn't have a very good day when it comes to the game between Mali and Tunisia. Now, it must be said that after blowing the whistle in the 89th minute and 47th second of the duration, the Malians, celebrated the victory and they went back to the dressing room as well as the Tunisians. But CAF, having reviewed the incident, requested that the teams come back to the field of play to complete the duration, just to play for a few minutes. And while the Malians returned to the field of play, the Tunisians refused, citing that the referee was biased in his officiating. And as a result of Tunisia's reluctance to return to the field of play, CAF decided to award the victory to Mali. So that's the controversy that erupted yesterday at the African Cup of Nations. Talking about the match itself, it was a feisty contest and it was quite competitive, but the referee did not have a good day when it comes to officiating. Now, let's talk about the referee bit. Talking about Gianni Sikazwe from Zambia. It must be said this is one of the most experienced and probably one of the best referees Africa has. He's well experienced, having started refereeing matches, officiating matches as early as 2007. That's 15 years now when you consider we're in 2022. And this is a referee that has officiated at the World Cup in 2018, the Russian World Cup. He officiated 2 group stage matches. You had Japan against Poland. You also had the game between Poland and Japan in there. So the referee is well experienced. He has officiated in the CAF Champions League as well numerous times. And also in 2017, he was the one who was in charge of the African Cup of Nations final between Cameroon and Egypt, which the Cameroonians won by a lone goal. So this is a referee who is well experienced both on the continental stage as well as on the international stage. It's just unfortunate that he had a bad day yesterday. And it's yet to be seen if CAF will take a decision regarding stripping him of his duties when it comes to this year's edition of the African Cup of Nations. That's his first match that he handled yesterday. And we'll hear from CAF going forward if he would continue to officiate matches. But it wasn't a good sight to see. And the Tunisians are understandably aggrieved when it comes to that. Let's hope that, much of the talking points will be about the action on the field of play rather than the controversies offered. That's not the only match that took place yesterday, talking about the African Cup of Nations, the 33rd edition. Remember, it has a $16.2 million pool prize money, and the winners of the edition, or the winner, I beg your pardon, will be going on with $5 million. The runner-up, $3 million, and you have semi-finalists going on with $2.5 million, with quarter-finalists going on with $800,000 each. So much money going around. Ivory Coast, the Ivorians were also in action yesterday. Ivory Coast against Equatorial Guinea, and that was also another match we saw yesterday. It was another low-scoring game. It ended 1-0, and it was Gradel's 5th-minute strike that ensured that Ivory Coast was able to get all 3 points against the lowly rated Equatorial Guinea, who couldn't come to the party. It was quite competitive as well. KG, the transitional plays were a bit faulty even from the Ivorians, as you would have expected them to do more, considering they have Sebastian Haller, who is currently the top goal scorer when it comes to the UEFA Champions League. But at the end of the day, they got the early goal and they were able to hold on to it. So the Ivorians have started on a very good note as well, and you just feel that they would get things going when it comes to, securing its place in the round of 16. Remember, it's a 24-team tournament, and the top 2 will qualify. You would also have 4 best third-place teams. So there's still chances for teams who have even lost their opening game to get into the round of 16. But the Ivorians have started well. Let's see how they're able to build on that. Now let's take highlights of the match between Mauritania and Gambia. The debutants getting the victory in there. One return, we'll discuss about that a bit. Just stick around. Jubilation in the camp of the Gambians as they secured a win over Mauritania. 1-0 it ended, but they had numerous chances to win the match by a very bloated scoreline. More importantly is that the Mauritanian goalkeeper stood his ground to ensure that the damage was limited to just a lone goal. But the Gambians got the victory at the end of the day, and it was well deserved. They played so well. You could see the white coach there, who was enthusiastic about the team's performance overall, and you have to give them kudos. It is their debut at the Continental Showpiece, and they were still able to put in a very good performance, although the quality of the opposition is also questionable. But you have to give it to the Gambians, and they've secured a very good chance. They've given themselves, rather, a very good chance of making the round of 16 berth, considering the fact that there are still, 4 teams that will qualify as the third best placed team. So Gambia right there doing the work, and it's just a feat they can build on when it comes to the competition itself. Let's see how far they can go. Most of the players are unknown. They have just 2 players who ply their trade abroad. The remaining are home-based players, but these lads are ready to make it count when it comes to the biggest showpiece on the continent, talking about the African Cup of Nations. Now, let's move forward quickly to preview of today's matches. And the big one will be the host city, Cameroon, who will be looking to get a win over Ethiopia to secure their place in the round of 16. Remember, today's matches is the beginning of round 2 of the group stage matches, and you have Cameroon who will be slugging out against Ethiopia. And for the Cameroonians, it's almost like a straightforward win, this one. On paper, the Ethiopians are no match for the Cameroonians, but having witnessed the first match where Burkina Faso caused a stir, you could feel that the Cameroonians can afford to be complacent when it comes to the match against Ethiopia. For the Ethiopians, there's so much to play for. They lost the opening match to Cape Verde by a lone goal, so they will be looking forward to redeeming themselves and seeing if they can cause a shock upset. While for Cameroon, they'll be banking on the resurgence that we saw in the second half against Burkina Faso to ensure that they get their place into the round of 16. Cameroon against Ethiopia seems more like a straightforward match where Cameroon should be able to do enough to win the match. Remember, our predictions games is still on, and we're still awaiting our first winner of the of the games. Now, the good news is that Twitter has been the Twitter ban has been lifted by the federal government of Nigeria. So, football lovers, there are no excuses this time around. Remember, the only time and condition for you to stand a chance to win a prediction game has to be that you follow us on our social media handles. On Instagram, it's iBrandTV. On Twitter, it's iBrand_TV. And on YouTube, you kindly like and subscribe. It is iBrandTV or iBrandTV Media. So once you're following us on all 3 platforms and you get your predictions correctly, you stand a chance to win amazing prizes. Today's African Cup of Nations is just in Group A. So it's not 3 matches. You have 2 matches. You have Cameroon against Ethiopia, which I just talked about. I'm sending your prediction for that one. And the second one is the one between Cape Verde as well as Cape Verde and Burkina Faso. So those are the 2 matches. You should send in your predictions. Remember, your predictions have to be correctly in terms of the scoreline for you to stand a chance to win. So let's follow us on our social media handles and send in your predictions. We'll pick up the winner and we'll reach out to the winners as soon as we have someone who has won, talking about our prediction game for the African Cup of Nations. Now, let's delve quickly to the second match of today, which is between Cape Verde as well as Burkina Faso. For Cape Verde, it's a chance for them to also book a place in the round of 16. They won the first match against Ethiopia by a lone goal, and this time around against the Burkina Faso side, who also lost, they will be looking at getting at least a point. For Cape Verde, a point will definitely get them through into the round of 16 as one of the best third-place teams, but I'm sure the Cape Verdeans will be looking at getting a win to secure their place, comfortably into the round of 16. It's difficult to call where this would, fall in terms of who gets it, because the Burkina Faso team we saw against Cameroon also, proved the stern test for the Cameroonians, and I'm sure they would want to replicate the performance against Cape Verde. For Cape Verde, they're a decent side as well, and they should be able to prove difficult to beat. So it should be KG. The transitional play again will be called into questions, and more importantly, the goalkeepers will have their work cut out when it comes to keeping the oppositions at bay. Let's see how that pans out. Most likely a draw. I don't know, but I'm not an octopus, but I think that's what my crystal ball is telling me, that it will probably be a draw. But either way, a win for Cape Verde would definitely guarantee their passage into the round of 16, while a loss for Burkina Faso will ensure that they're out of the competition, except if other teams, do not fare well and then they secure a berth as one of the 4 best third-place teams. Regardless of how it pans out, it should be an entertaining affair, talking about the match between Cape Verde as well as, Burkina Faso. So moving on from there, let's delve now into European club football quickly. And we'll start with Carabao Cup matches, the match that was played yesterday between Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur. It was a mountain to climb for Tottenham Hotspur. At home against Chelsea, they needed at least 2 unreplied goals to be able to force the tie, into penalties if possible, but that didn't work out. Rudiger's early goal, the headed goal, was what even condemned them further, and it was just a disappointing night for Spurs, who missed out, or who were missing Heung-min Son due to injury. So Chelsea have secured their place at the Carabao Cup final taking place in Wembley, and their opponents are yet to be known because Liverpool and Arsenal will still have to play over 2 legs to determine who goes through. But over 2 legs, you get a feeling that Chelsea deserved this. The first leg last week was nothing to write home about in terms of a Spurs performance, and it just shows you the gulf between Chelsea and Spurs at this point in time. Antonio Conte has his work cut out. Let's see how he's able to rejuvenate Spurs into a top 4 team once again, and hopefully they're able to make it count this time around. But Chelsea are into the finals of the Carabao Cup, and their opponents will either be Liverpool or Arsenal, depending on how both teams, fare in their semi-final matches. Remember, it's a 2-legged affair with the first leg coming on later today. Now, let's move over to Spain, where Barcelona and Real Madrid played. It must be said the match took place at the King Fahd Stadium in Saudi Arabia, but it is the Spanish Super Cup. And this time around, it was a 5-goal thriller, which ended in the extra time. Yes, Real Madrid running out 3-2 winners. And then for Barcelona, a Barcelona team that is undergoing some sort of redevelopment, it must be said that Xavi's men gave a good account of themselves against table toppers Real Madrid, with Carlo Ancelotti's men getting the win. You had the regular suspects, Vinicius Jr., who is on your screen, got a goal in the match. You also have Karim Benzema getting the second goal for Real Madrid, and it was Federico Valverde who scored the winning goal for Real Madrid to get them into the final of the Spanish Super Cup. The other semi-final fixture will be today between Atletico Madrid and Athletic Bilbao. Whoever wins that will play Real Madrid in the final. But for Real Madrid, it was a good victory for them when it comes to one over their arch rivals. And it is their 100th victory over Barcelona when it comes to the El Clasico. So Carlo Ancelotti's men have everything going for them, while for Barcelona, the hard work continues when it comes to getting them back to the very top. We'll move over from there now to the Italian Serie A, where it was the Italian Super Cup that took place last night between Inter Milan as well as Juventus, the league winners and the League Cup holders. And it was Inter Milan who ran out 2-1 winners, courtesy of a last-second strike by Alexis Sanchez, the former Arsenal man, scoring the decisive goal with the last kick of the match to ensure that Inter Milan are able to get through in terms of lifting the Super Cup. It was a very cagey match. Both teams had their chances, and it was Juventus who went ahead first with Winston McKennie getting the goal in the 5th minute, but he had Lautaro Martinez equalizing from the spot, and Inter Milan were just able to snug it when it comes to the winning goal from Alexis Sanchez at the very last minute. Now let's move over to England, where the Carabao Cup, as I mentioned earlier, the semi-final will take place. But for Liverpool against Arsenal, it is the first leg of this semi-final. They couldn't play last week due to Liverpool having COVID-19 issues as well as injury worries. So the match was postponed due to the COVID outbreak at Anfield. And this time around, the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final is taking place at Anfield. It's Liverpool hosting Arsenal, and it's one match that we should look out for. Remember, remember, Mikel Arteta's men are on a very good run of form, although there was a disappointing loss to Nottingham Forest on Sunday, which made them exit the FA Cup. But beyond that, you've had Arsenal on a very good run of form. Even Manchester City found it difficult to defeat them at the turn of the year. So it should be an entertaining affair. For Liverpool, no doubt they will be without the usual suspects, Mohamed Salah as well as Sadio Mane and Naby Keita. All three are playing at the African Cup of Nations right about now. But Diogo Jota is in there, but Firmino is back. Remember, he got a goal against Shrewsbury on Sunday, so that should count for something for Jurgen Klopp's men. Let's see how it pans out. Whoever wins over 2 legs will play Chelsea in the final. Let me take a breather right now. When I return, we'll be talking about the business aspect of sports. Please do stick around.
Most people don't understand the magic of the perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Thanks for staying tuned. It's still the arena. Now it's time to talk about some business stories in the world of sports. We begin with Manchester City, who have surpassed intra-city rivals Manchester United in revenue for the first time. The club posted revenue of $735.9 million during the season, topping Manchester United's $636.3 million. Manchester City achieved this feat with only $910,000 in matchday revenue. The club earned $383.2 million from broadcasting and $351.7 million from commercial and other sources. Meanwhile, City Football Group, which owns Manchester City, is working with the Oakville Group to build a $495 million mixed-use arena next to the team's Etihad Stadium. The group secured a 7-year $650 million loan in July 2021 to help build a new stadium for its Major League Soccer club, New York Football Club. And still talking sports business, DAZN is reportedly nearing a deal with telecom company BT Group to acquire BT Sport for $800 million. The companies were reportedly closing in on a deal last fall, but negotiations stalled following concerns over revenue assurances and DAZN's streaming capabilities. Acquiring BT Sport would add a number of broadcasting rights to DAZN's roster. In 2019, the company spent roughly $1.7 billion on sports rights, according to regulatory filings. In May, the Premier League extended its deals with Sky, Amazon, BBC, and BT from 2022 to 2025. Collectively, the deals are worth $7 billion. And still talking sports business, KKR and Cooperation has invited the Public Investment Fund to join in its proposed acquisition of Telecom Italia. Telecom Italia paired with DAZN in July 2021 to gain domestic rights to Serie A in a 3-year deal worth $1.1 billion. The KKR made its initial takeover bid in November, triggering a 38% increase in Telecom Italia's stock. The Turin-based company has kept most of those gains and had a market capitalization of around $10.9 billion as of Tuesday. The Public Investment Fund has had a growing presence in sports and gaming. It's reportedly close to acquiring Serie A's Inter Milan for $1 billion and bought the Premier League's Newcastle United for $409 million in October 2021 after 18 months of clearing regulatory hurdles. The fund, with over $430 billion in assets, also has heavy investments in gaming, with $2.9 billion invested in Activision Blizzard, $2 billion in Electronic Arts, and $869 million in Take-Two Interactive as of September 30th, 2021. Now, we'll go on a very short break. When we return, we'll delve into the world of other sports, where Australian Open draws have taken place. So you want to know who plays next?
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Thank you for joining us. Now we're hitting home stretch. Now let's talk about other sports, starting from the world of basketball, where the Los Angeles Lakers once again lost, this time around despite the heroics of LeBron James, who scored 34 points. James has been putting up MVP numbers in recent weeks, and this time he couldn't sustain Lakers' run, having seen them lose back-to-back. The slump for Russell Westbrook continues as his poor form continued in the game against Sacramento Kings in a well-deserved loss for the Lakers. They ended up losing 125 to 116 points as they slumped to a 2021 start to the season. Meanwhile, the loss leaves them 7th at the Western Conference regards playoff race. Now, moving on from there to the world of Formula One, where the FIA, which is the governing body of Formula One, has begun its review of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which took place last year on the 12th of December. Remember, that's the Grand Prix, the last of the 2021 calendar season, which determined the title race. And with Mercedes complaining about the decision of Michael Massey, the race director, and his implementation of restarting the race after the safety car has been deployed. The decision of Massey denied Lewis Hamilton a record 8th world title, with Max Verstappen winning his first. Now, the future of the British lies uncertain in terms of the sport, as he's yet to commit to 2022 season despite having a deal with Mercedes. And the FIA has decided that they'll speak to all key players, and the intentions will be known. And all key stakeholders as well, both the drivers, the team directors, as well as the officials and stewards, will all be discussed and will all be talked to with regards to moving forward from the controversy that erupted at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, the inquiry into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is expected to end on or before the 3rd of February. Remember, pre-season testing begins in Spain on the 23rd of February, while you have the season opener starting in Bahrain on the 20th of March, talking about the curtain raiser for the 2022 Formula One season. It's yet to be seen if Lewis Hamilton will participate, but they will be hoping that he participates. And finally on the show, we wrap up with Australian Open, which has been marred with the controversy of Novak Djokovic's visa saga. But this time around, it's about the draws which have taken place. And despite the uncertainty of Novak Djokovic's participation, the draws are out and he's included in the draw. He has been drawn to face his fellow Serbian, Mojmir Kekovic, who will be in round 1. While for world number 1, Ashley Barty, talking about the women's category, she will be playing a qualifier, which is yet to be unknown. For US Open champion Ima Raducanu, she's seeded 17th for the championship, and she will be playing former US Open champion Sloane Stephens in a cracker. While you have Naomi Osaka, the defending champion for the women, who will be playing Camila Osorio in the mix as well. And for Nadal, world number 6, he will be playing Marcos Guerrero as the first Grand Slam of the year takes effect. Remember, it is a 75 million Australian dollars prize money pool for this year's Australian Open title championship, and it is the biggest of all 4 Grand Slams when it comes to the world of tennis. It's on that note I say thank you so much to the production crew who has made this possible. Thank you to you, the viewers out there, who give me the momentum to keep this going. I'm Samson Olede. Till Arena comes your way tomorrow, please do have a wonderful day.